So we need to talk about something that's been going on out east in the NBA, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed this. But what I'm talking about here is the difference in point guard play that we've been seeing out east so far this year. Between guys like Tyrese Halliburton, who's having a terrible, terrible year. Then you got guys like LaMelo Ball and Darius Garland, who right now are having phenomenal years. Darius Garland, if the All Star game was right now, would be probably a starter. Honestly, both of the Cleveland guards would probably be starters on the All Star team out east right now if I'm thinking about it, really. But anyways, the reason I'm talking about all this is because, bro, it's just weird. Like out west, we've kind of got what we've expected. We've got Jokic is playing better than anyone I think thought he was gonna play. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and the OKC Thunder are doing great. Now, sure, Steph Curry has been playing well, but he hasn't been playing great. But I think some people could have expected that. What we didn't expect was the Warriors being the one seed. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we've expected exactly what's happened out west. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying the players that we thought would be good for the most part out west have been pretty good. Those that we thought wouldn't be for the most part haven't been great. Now there have been some surprises like Tari Eason and Amin Thompson for the Rockets have been phenomenal. Alperen Sengun has been phenomenal. Like there are some guys that have been phenomenal that we haven't really expected. Like Chet Holmgren was on a path to win MVP and DPOY before he gets hurt. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that like we haven't had guys that have been playing better than we thought they would. But out east, it's like specifically with these point guards, bro. Because if you want to go look at a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, who last night had an absolutely abysmal game versus the Toronto Raptors in a game where he lost. And then this season, through 14 games, this man is having a bad year, bro. Last year, he was an all-star. He was on the all-NBA third team, averaging 20 and 11, leading the league in assists, okay? Also averaging above a steal and just above 2 turnovers. This year, he's averaging 16 points and 8.5. We'll go 9 assists. So last year he was averaging 20 and 11. This year he's averaging 16 and 9. We'll round up. We'll be nice because I do that for pretty much everyone. The turnovers are down a little bit. That's good. His fouls are up by a full foul a game. That's nothing major. What I want to look at, not only the dip in points and the dip in assists, because while those are dips, it's like the dip in assists really isn't major. It's 2 assists. Now the dip in points is pretty major. Honestly, the dip in both is pretty like bigger than you would expect for the guy that's coming off a good year and a guy that should be, if anything, getting closer and closer to his prime as every year passes. So that's not a good thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but it's like, well, his points 2 years ago were higher than his points last year when he made All NBA third team. You know what I'm saying? His assists were only .5 higher. So what was the difference? Well, the difference was the team was a lot better. But and he also played a lot more games. But another thing about it that I'm noticing with this season, bro, his splits are absolutely disgusting. Now, you guys can't see this because I don't really feel like putting up all these players' basketball reference pages on my screen and just continue to flip through. I could do that. Maybe I should, but I don't know. We'll see. If I switch throughout the video, I switch throughout the video. But his shooting splits this year, this man is shooting 38, 28, 81 splits. This man is shooting 38.3% from the field, 28.8% from three-point range, and 81.6% from free throw. Last year, he was shooting 47.7% from the field, 36% from three-point range, which was even a down year for him from three-point range. That last year was his first year that he was below 40% in three-point range, but he was also taking more than he ever took, a little bit more than he took in the 2023 year. In the 2022-2023 year, my apologies. So yeah, he was taking a little more, but he was also, you know what I'm saying? He just also didn't shoot it great last year. This year, it's down by even more. Last year, his shooting was down 4% on the three-point range. This year, it's down 8%. In the last 2 years, his three-point shooting has dropped by 12%. If we're saying that this trend is real. And then free throw, he's just dropped by also 4%. And he's attempting even more. Bro, Tyrese Halliburton, what the fuck are you doing? Your team sucks. Your team has... Last year, what your team hung the hat on was offense. You hung your hat on offense. You said, we're going to be a young, fast-paced, beautiful offense team. And I know some of that pace did go down when the Siakam trade happened later in the year, whatever. You said we're going to be an amazing offense. We're going to be a very, very historic offense, right? And you did that. You made it all the way to the conference finals doing that. Whether injuries played a part in that or not, which they definitely did, does not matter. You made it to the conference finals. That's all people are going to remember. So you made it to the conference finals doing that. Well, this year, you're middle of the pack in offense. You're middle of the pack in pace, where last year you were like the fastest offense in basketball, like one of the fastest of all time, if I'm not mistaken. And this year, you're middle of the pack in pace. You're middle of the pack in offense. And I think you're middle of the pack or worse defensively. So your team's not good, and you're a guy that the way you might thrive might be in the type of system where you're the best offense and the fastest paced offense in the league, and right now your offense isn't that, and maybe this just isn't the system for you. I think I'm not going to say defenses have figured you out. But I'm gonna say defenses are making things tougher on you. Like defenses are figuring out ways to make things tough on you. Now they're not necessarily figuring out ways to stop you, but they're figuring out ways to make things tough on you. And this is just going to be another one of those things where we see an NBA player that people I think are kind of overrating, where they have ESPN has him like the 16th, 17th, 17th, 18th maybe best player in basketball, and we got people putting him out there as like is he the best point guard out east? Is he the top 3 point guard in basketball? He's not. But this is the chance where you can prove me wrong, Tyrese. When you're going through something like this, where it seems like defenses have you, where it seems like right now, not seems like, where right now you wouldn't be an all-star. You would be going from a 2-time all-star and an all-NBA third-team player to not even being an all-star this year if the all-star game was tomorrow. You got to figure things out, and you have a really, really, really good chance here to just kind of just turn things around and prove people like me wrong who are saying that you're not one of the best point guard. Well, you're one of the best, but like who's saying that you're not the top best point guard in the East, that you're not a top 3 to 5 point guard in the league. You have a chance to prove me wrong by just adding something new to your game, but you're one of those players this year where it seems like you didn't really add too much to your game. From what I'm seeing so far, like there are players like Anthony Edwards obviously added that 3 to his game, but there are just players who just haven't added much to their game, like Jalen Green. Like this just has not much been added. Stormy. There was somebody else I was thinking of who just hasn't added much to his game in basketball. Was it Jabari Smith? No, I don't think it was Jabari Smith. There was somebody else I was thinking of, and I can't remember who it is, who just hasn't added much to their game. And it's sad to see. I don't know, but anyways, then there's other guys like in the East, like Cade Cunningham, who's having a pretty freaking good season right now. This man, Cade Cunningham, this season, now he's had a very, very injured career, but through 16 games this year, he's averaging a career high in points with 23.3, a career high in assists with 8.8, and a career high in rebounds with 7.3. From the field, he's shooting 44.6%. From 3, he's shooting 37, a career high. And from free throw, he is shooting 81, which is his lowest of his career, but that's still good. You know what I'm saying? Cade Cunningham's going out here having a career year. Now, his turnovers are higher than ever, but his turnovers have always been pretty high. Like they've never dipped below 3.3 in his career, in his short career. And even in that year, he only played 12 games. That was the year he got injured. So you know what I'm saying? But this year, he's having a career year. He's having a phenomenal year, and I know those turnovers are high, and a lot of those turnovers are coming in bad times. Like, you've got those turnovers coming in clutch moments versus the Bucks. You've got them coming in clutch moments versus the Heat, or blah, blah, blah. And that is tough, and I do think that's part of the reason that people like me and people who aren't really casual fans of basketball, people who are kind of watching a lot of basketball, listening to a lot of basketball, like paying attention to a lot of basketball, I think that's why a lot of us kind of want to see what would happen if you experiment with putting a second guard on the court in those clutch time moments. Kind of like I'm not comparing these players to Luka and Kyrie, but I'm just saying, like, kind of like how they have 2 guards at the court where they have 2 guys that can ball handle. I kind of want to see what that would look like with Cade Cunningham, just because his turnover numbers are so high, and you can't really have that and he's one of those guys that kind of operates from the top of the key. And that in and of itself is difficult. So maybe getting another guy that could just operate from somewhere else, or maybe another guy that can maybe operate from the top of the key better, and Cade can go operate from somewhere else. Maybe that just isn't a bad thing. But Cade Cunningham having an absolutely career year. And then we go down to guys like Jalen Brunson, who's having a solid year. Like, Jalen Brunson's not having a good as year last year as he did scoring-wise. Like, he averaged 29. He averaged 28.7 last year. Yes, he's averaging 24.4 right now. But, I mean, he's averaging 0.4 assists more than he averaged last year. This is a new team. They still got to figure things out. There's still some chemistry things that they got working out. But he's, you know what I'm saying? He's having a pretty solid year. Not anything terrible. He started the year off worse than he started right now. Than he is right now, than he's doing right now. Like, he did start the year off kind of rough, but he's doing better now. The one thing that I would say I'm concerned about with Jalen Brunson's game is that his three-point percentage has dropped to below 40% for the first time in 2 years, which isn't great. I mean, the last time that happened, he was in Dallas, so you know what I'm saying? That's not great if you're Jalen Brunson, but I mean, he's averaging less. I mean, he's attempting less than he attempted last year. He's attempting a full less 3 than he attempted last year, and he's getting to the line at about the same amount. So I mean, he's attempting a full less 3, and he's averaging 4 less points. I feel like that makes sense. Like, and he's getting to the line at about the same amount, but he's attempting less shots this year. Guess what? He's attempting less shots because they have Karl-Anthony Towns on the team. He's attempting less 2s and less 3s. Like, he's attempting less shots. He has Karl-Anthony Towns on the team. He doesn't need to attempt as much. Like, last year, for most of the season, he didn't even have his second best player in Julius Randle. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of how stuff is. But then you have somebody that I really want to talk about. LaMelo freaking Ball. LaMelo Ball, if things were to start, if the All Star game were to start right now, this dude might be an All Star starter. To me, he would be an All Star starter. To me, he's been the best point guard in the East this year. He's been the best point guard in the East, and I was about to go as far as to say the league. He's definitely top 3 in the league right now. It's like him, Steph, Shea. Because I don't give a damn what Luka's been doing on offense. Luka's defense has been so bad, I cannot put him in the top 3 right now. This man's defense is costing his team games. It's costing his players fouls. It's costing his players health. And then he's the first one to get frustrated. You can see Najee Marshall starting to get pissed off with the shit because Najee Marshall's over there throwing his hands up at Luka when this stuff happens. And he's doing it multiple times because he's like, I don't give a fuck how good you are on offense. I don't give a fuck how much you get paid. You haven't won no MVP. You haven't won no championship. These are things that people have been trying to get you to do. These are things that people have been saying you're going to do for the last 5 straight fucking years. Maybe if you played a little bit more defense. You know how people used to say back when LeBron first got to LA, and this used to piss me off so bad? People used to say LeBron never plays defense. He doesn't try it all anymore. And I'm like, yes, there's obvious places where he doesn't get back on defense, where he doesn't try as hard. He's 40 years old, whatever. Bro, this is what people thought LeBron was on defense in those years. This is bad. Like, this is really, really bad by Luka, bro. I don't know how I started talking about Luka, but I'm talking about point guards out of the East, and I started talking about Luka Doncic. But anyways, LaMelo fucking Ball. Averaging 29.7 points. This man's averaging 30 points, 7 assists, 5 boards, and over a steal. Now, his assist-to-turnover ratio is terrible. He is averaging 4.4 turnovers to 6.7 assists per game. So you know, the assist-turnover ratio is not great. It's not great. But this man's having a career year pretty much everywhere else. This man, well, not assists. His assists aren't. His assists are his worst since his rookie year. But he's having a career year, bro. The scoring the ball, 30 points, dude. 30 points per game for LaMelo Ball right now, when literally the highest he got was last year when he averaged 23.9, and he only played 22 games last year, the least of his career. This man, LaMelo Ball, is having a career year right now over there in Charlotte, and right now has been playing like the best point guard out east. The Charlotte Hornets actually aren't like the worst team in ball. Somehow the Charlotte Hornets are like, well, I didn't expect them to be the worst team in ball, but I expected them to be worse than they are. Right now, well, not really worse than they are. I just expected them to be, the Charlotte Hornets right now are at 5-8. That means they're on pace to get what? 25, 30 wins. I wouldn't have said I necessarily expected them to get 30 wins. I might have said I expected them to get 20, 25. But they're doing better than I thought they would do. Right now, they're 10th in the East. That's not terrible when you're a Charlotte Hornets team that really only has LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller with some other promising pieces. But those are your 2 guys for real. And then the last guy I want to talk about when it comes to Eastern Conference point guards is Darius Garland, who is also having a career year, especially efficiency-wise. This man's numbers this year: 21.4 points per game, 7 assists, which is not as high as his career, but it's higher than it was last year. It's higher than it has been since, his All-Star year and the year after his All-Star year was higher. But last year it wasn't. He's averaging, he's 6 foot. He's not going to get a bunch of rebounds. But his splits, bro. This man is shooting a career high from the field at 52.5%. Before this year, he had never been above 46.5%. He had never been above 46.5%. Right now, he is shooting 53%. On twos, he's shooting 58%. He had never been above 51.5%. From the line, he is shooting 93%. He's never been above 89.5% before. From three-point range, he is shooting 45.5%. He's never been above 41% before. I don't know what's going on with these points. And don't forget, his team is undefeated. I don't know what the hell is going on with these point guards out East right now. I don't know what's going on with these guys, why some of them are playing so much better than I thought they'd be playing, why some of them are playing so much astronomically worse than I thought they'd be playing. Tyrese Halliburton, that is a shot at you, by the way. But wow. Bro, this NBA season, there's another night of NBA Cup games tonight. I'm hoping this night is as electric as the first 2 were, so I'm hoping that this season continues to get even better. But, bro, this has been a very good season so far. A very, very, very good season so far, and I'm loving every minute of it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Keep God first. And I know I was cursing. Now I'm talking about God, dude. I know I need to get better. But it's all right. Working on it. I'm an imperfect human. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all.